Hi everybody, this is Daniel from WeLaunch, and today I'm going to show you how you can use our WordPress Multilingual Multisite plugin to translate your WordPress website. I have a customer who wants to have his German website translated into English, and I'm going to show you step by step how this is going to work. So we have the customer website called bojafenster.de, and he wants to have an English site with a subdirectory based /en. The very first thing is that we have here a clean WordPress website, so no multi-site, and we need to make a multi-site of that. We've written a guide on that. I will put that also into the description so you can click on that and follow it. How you can set up a multi-site very easy. And I'm going to show you how to do it right now. So very first do a backup. That's very important. I did that before, of course, and now I have to disable all the plugins. So we go into the website, and I have 11 plugins here that I will now go to deactivate. I click on accept, and all plugins are now deactivated. The next step is to add a code line into the wp-config PHP file. So I'm going to open my code editor. You cannot see it because, of course, it contains some security codes and so on. So I'm just add the code line here and save it into the wp-config file. Then I upload it via FTP to the site and went back to the website. On the website, I do see now a point called network setup. It makes more sense. I will make it in English now for you to understand that better. So I go to tools and then to network setup, and I can create the network of this WordPress website. So we see here, Boja Fenster Sites would be the network title, that is okay, and the network email address is mine, so that's also okay. And I'm going to install that now. So I click on install, and I see a network configuration rule that I have to put in the wp-config file again, and a htaccess file that I need to replace. This one, please do not use it, because it uses subdomain installs with true, and I do not want to use subdomains, because when you do that you have to create one SSL certificate for every subdomain, you have to maintain it on your server and so on. So it's easier to just follow my guide and use the subdirectory base. So we scroll down a bit here, and here is the subdirectory base. It says here subdomain install false, and it says the path also. So I copy out the code, paste it into my wp-config PHP file, upload it via FTP, and then I also do the htaccess adjustments. That htaccess file lies also in the root file of your site, so you can easily access this via FTP. I will upload that now to your site, and then everything is set up. After this, I have to log in again. So you will need to log in with your normal login that you also had before. So I'm going to log in now, and I will keep me signed in, and now we have a multi-site. So that is basically it. We have a multi-site now with subsites, and if we go to sites now, all sites, we see the main site, that is the .de one. When we visit the site, it looks exactly like the site before. The only thing is that we can add more sites here. Next step would be to upload our multilingual multisite plugin. So we go to choose a file here now, go to our zip files from our plugin that we have and install them. So we need to install our own plugin, of course, the WordPress Multilingual Multisite plugin, and then also the WeLaunch framework that we use for all our plugins, so you can get auto updates and everything automatically. So this one is now installed. I will, as I said, also now install the WeLaunch framework again, install it, And after installation, I go to install plugins, and you see here everything is disabled because I disabled it before. And now I'm going to network activate all plugins again. I click on apply. And then I see everything is installed and also activated. So the next step would be, because I want to clone my German site into the English one, I'm going to copy block. This is a functionality of our plugin. And then I go to the German site and copy this into the English folder. But before this, and I've said that here also, you need to click on the init translation buttons in our plugin settings when it's the first time you're using our plugin. So I'll go into translations first, scroll down a bit, and you see here a button called init translation tables. I will click that one and see that everything is correctly initialized. And then I go back to the copy block functionality. I choose the German site as a source that I want to copy, and I want to make it EN. And I call that Boja Fenster. So the name of the company, English. I will not copy files because I will use the media sync functionality. Oh, it's a bit too fast. And I will go into copy now. And then all pages and posts and everything will be copied from the German side to the English side. I go back to our plugin settings. As I said, I will use media sync library and enable this one and click on, so that all the images and everything from the German side is also replicated to the English side, and you only maintain it at one level. So that's basically it. When I go now to all sites, we see we have a German side, and you see we also have an English side. And you see that both have a dashboard, you can visit both, and you can also, for example, delete the English one, but you can't delete the main one. Now I go into the dashboard of the English side, and I want to start translating the pages and the posts by using an API or using a machine translation. Because I speak a bit English and also can translate English, but I do not want to do it manually. I want to use Google Translate or DeepL for that. So I go into our plugin settings here, and then I go into machine translation. I will enable the machine translation, and then I will use DeepL as my translation provider. But we can also use, for example, Google Translate or Microsoft Translate. You can set here also what you want to translate, but by default everything should be maintained as it is, except you have very special things like Elementor, or you're using a page builder that accesses other keys. So I use DeepL, and then I will put in my API key in, but I won't do that in my video because then you can copy my API key, of course. So I will do that in another window, left beside me, save it. And then I can start using the machine translation. Yeah, but before we do this, we need to make sure how we translate the sites, and we also make sure the sites have the correct language and country settings. So, of course, I entered the API key now, but I also need to set the default source language, which is not English, but it is German, because I copied a German site and I want to have it English. So default source is always German now, and now I need to check the sites and see if it has the correct sites settings, language settings. So open up the German site here, click on edit, I click on dashboard, not edit, and then I went into the general settings here, and I scroll down a bit to see the local, the language and the country settings, and also the alternate settings. I need to make sure everything is correctly set to DE, German, Germany, and DE-DE. The same applies for the English side, so I can easily jump into the English side using the flag here now, click on the flag of the English side, scroll down a bit, and I see ENUS, correct language English, country international, and also the alternate is correctly. It's X default, which means English for everybody that is not speaking the local native language. Okay, back to machine translation. I'm in the English site now and I go into the pages. So the pages are copied from German and you can see here everything is in German, but I only want to have it in English now. So I can bulk translate everything. So I check, for example, these 3 pages, then go to bulk actions and translate them via DeepL. Then I can click on apply and everything will be translated automatically. But I can also click on edit here, so a single page, and choose here on the right machine translation. And here you see the source language is German and the target language is English. I enable the checkbox translate via DeepL and I click on update. Sorry, I have to set the API key again here. And that is it. So you see, it is translated to latest news. Before in German it was aktuelle Neuigkeiten, which is correctly translated. And you see also in the shortcodes here that everything is translated into English. What's very important is that also the shortcodes here are translated, but only the text elements. So we split everything up and it will be translated correctly, also using Gutenberg, Editor or Divi, or for example Elementor. So it's correctly working with nearly all page builders that the most of the people use. And it also works now in the front end. We can check here, you see everything is in English and also the texts and also the stuff below here is in English. So what I'm going to do now is I will go into pages, bulk translate everything into DeepL so that we have all pages translated already, but that may take some time and I will not do it now but later. But we also need to maybe translate posts of the site, and we may also need to translate other footer or other stuff that is, for example, UX blocks. So you need to walk through all product types that you have and start this machine translation once manually or manually in bulk. That's nearly it. So now we have the pages translated and you see here also that everything is connected. You see this post is connected to the German footer page. So German and English sites are connected, and in the HTML header for Google, so for SEO rankings, we will show Google the correct hreflang tags. Last but not it, I think you want to have a flag now in the site so you can switch from German to English. So I'm going to use a shortcode for this, but you can also use a menu appendant for that if you want. But I will use a shortcode, and for that I will go into the dashboard now. I go into our plugin settings. Then I go into the country selector. And you see here we have the shortcode WordPress Multilingual Multisite Country Selector. We also have a page that you can use, but I will only use the country selector. And I will go into my English site now, into the customizer. Then I went into the top bar here and I add a HTML element, for example. And inside this HTML element, I will put this shortcode. And you directly see here at the top that we have a country selector in. When I close the customizer now, you see here we have the country selector with English International, where we add at the moment. And you have German Germany and English International as a selector. But I do not want to have the text here in, so I'm going to remove the country here and also add a space here and here. So we can only choose the country, which makes more sense for, only choose the language because we do not have countries here. So we have German and English here, and if we now go to the German side, of course we have to do the same with the menu here and also add an HTML element inside the page, put the same country selector in, and that's it. You can have it at the top bar, or you can move it into the footer or wherever. However, when you are on a page, for example, this one here, it's called Windows in English, you can now switch to the English side here and see the same page translated in English. That's it. I hope you liked the video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or ask them in the comment section here. And otherwise, yeah, I'm happy to assist you if you have any problems when you bought our plugin. Thank you very much.